What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Contractor Secrets Podcast. Got Josh Edwards here, Edwards Painting Company. What's up, brother? Nice to meet you.
Living good, man. How are you doing?
Good, man. Good. So, what brings you, man? Tell me a little bit about your business and what inspired you to book this, and where you're at in the journey.
Yeah, man. Just launched my painting company 2 days ago.
Wow.
Been subcontracting for going on about my 8th year.
Okay.
4 years kind of on and off,
Wow.
living in a entrepreneur life, worked in music and entertainment a little bit. So was doing that, and then I opened a studio up, and when work would be slow with studio, I had resources to go paint. I was doing that at
Yeah.
18, 19 years old. And for the past 4 years, been really subcontracting painting, doing that full time, 40, 50 hours a week. And yeah, just 2 days ago, took the leap, man.
Wow.
And
What did that leap entail? Just not going?
yeah, essentially, I was working mainly with a couple GCs, mainly
Yeah.
one, and just saying, hey, man, I want to get like you, man.
Doing my own thing. Yeah.
I want to do my own thing, hang my own shingle, and yeah, he was supportive of it too. So it was a really good,
Cool.
bridge into this. Yep.
Good for you, man. Good for you. So, what's the plan?
Yeah, man, build this painting company. Got in with drip jobs, doing production rates. I'm on
Very
that
nice.
whole set, but I want to grow and scale this business. I was thinking a lot about what my goal is, exactly to get to as far as a number or how many houses we're gonna paint a year, and I'm not 100% sure on that. So it's definitely got to know where you're going if you want to get somewhere. And I
Yeah.
understand that. So I'm trying to define that goal right now, but I ultimately just want to get to a place where I can build a mechanism in this painting company to add a lot of value to customers, number one,
Sure.
and then empower people in their position in the company, give out
Yeah.
great
Create a
jobs
culture.
for create a culture, man.
Yeah.
Give out great jobs where people, can pursue and accomplish what they're trying to do in their life. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Good mission.
that's where I'm heading right now, man.
I'll tell you, man, that the best thing that you could do is just start off with really understanding what it is that you provide to the market now, because you're coming from a subcontractor where you were providing value to a GC. So that's what you were getting paid for. You were valuable to the GC. Now you're valuable to the homeowner. One of the things that you might run into is not having any predictability now that you're on your own. That's a big thing that you're used to, is a sense of predictability, is that GC is going to call, there's going to be something to paint. Now you're in a position where, you know, it's up to you now. You gotta generate that need, but it's not just generating the need, it's actually being selected by the market
Yep.
to be one of the individuals to fulfill the demand, right? So I think it's very important for you early on, especially first 2 days of your business, is to understand what a core offer is. Have you ever heard that term before?
No.
So a core offer is like, what is it that you provide to the market, right? And it's simple, right? You think, well, yeah, I paint. Well, it's deeper than that, and that's going to frame what your standards are in your company, right? Because what'll happen is, and I've seen this so many times, that's why I'm coming at you with this to begin. What's going to happen is if you don't create predictability in your business, you're going to be a generalist under the scope of painting. And you and I both know you can have 8 to 10 different types of painting businesses. You could be a cabinet refinisher, you could be a house painter, you could be an interior painting contractor, an exterior painting contractor. You could remove wallpaper, you could get into drywall, you could get into drywall texturing, you could get into popcorn removal, right? I could keep going. And what'll happen is you'll be completely, you'll be frayed, right? It'll be like a wire that's frayed, right? It'll just be, there's no current running through you because you're so spread thin, right? And if you don't have predictability coming from the top, then you can't give predictability down the line to your employees, right? So in other words, like, for example, you want to create a culture, you want people to come in, you want to hire people, you want to give them an opportunity. Well, the worst thing you could do is say, hey, I'm hiring you to be a painter. But then next thing you know, next week, hey, we have a popcorn removal job. We have a wallpaper job. We got a drywall job. And it's like, you're not helping them build momentum, because the agreement from an employee perspective is, I have a job to do. I come in, I work 40 hours for you. You pay me for that job. Now
Yep.
that job is outlined on the initial application. You're going to be painting. Great. Well, guess what? If you don't create a system that only protects your business or only allows your business to perform painting, then there's going to be an expectation gap that happens within your organization, which means, okay, I'm coming to work one day and I'm doing a popcorn removal.
Right.
Well, should I get paid more for that? Right. So I'm just helping you try to prevent this. And how you do
No,
that
I
is you,
think that's great information, Tanner. And all we're offering right now in this company is exterior, interior painting. So interior
and I'm with you.
trim doors, wall, ceiling.
I'm with you. And
Go
everybody
ahead.
starts that way. Trust me. Nobody does this off the bat. And what happens is if you don't have systems in place to generate those types of leads on a consistent basis, then what'll happen is that you'll be in the house of someone, or you'll get a word of mouth referral, or you'll get one of these things. So crafting the core offer, it sounds like you've already done, is saying, hey, we're only going to take interior and exterior painting, right? The second level to that is marketing. Let me hear your marketing plan. What do you got going on in terms of marketing?
So we just launched our website, Facebook. We're gonna get into Instagram too, but I'm really just like, as I launch them, I want these things to be honed in, and so the
When you
Facebook
say
and the
launch them, did you just create a page for them?
yeah, but I got all the branding done, and we have some content from past jobs that I've done, so we're rolling that. But yeah, it's just Facebook,
Okay.
website, and the goal is to get to a place where I can get to a marketing company. I know that I probably listened to about 100 hours of this podcast now, just while I
Thank you.
had a paintbrush in my hand. It's been a lot of
That's awesome. Yeah.
valuable information for any
Yeah.
painters out there that are just listening to this first one. But for media marketing, I've looked at their page and checked out the work that you guys have done together.
Yeah.
So that's the ultimate goal, is to
I'll
get to a
tell you,
place.
you got to make that the biggest priority in your life right now, is finding a way to get predictable results in every area of the business. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. Marketing, sales, production, administration. Like with Drip Jobs, you created predictability. You have this system administrative wise that you built, or you're using with Drip Jobs. You get a booking form, you get all these really perfect systems in place for that. Cool, that's done. Sales.
Yep.
You need a lot of work on your sales process, right? This is the beginning phases of you being the guy face to face with that homeowner, and learning the art of persuasion, learning the art of building value, learning the art of creating value, learning the art of handling objections. Like, this is something that, I don't know. Do you have a sales background? Have you been in sales?
I mean, like I said, man, I've been in
Music?
entertainment, so music. So
Yeah. I'm
I've
sure
thrown
naturally you have some,
I've
sales.
thrown a lot of events, so
Yeah,
Facebook marketing is nothing new. I've had a Facebook.business account for a long time.
sure.
Familiar with ads. I ain't gonna be an expert like for
Yeah, yeah,
media,
yeah.
but you know what I'm saying. I've dabbled with all of it, ran ads, and been an entrepreneur since I was 18 years
Cool.
old. So familiar with the world for sure. But this
When
is
it comes to
definitely new.
yeah, this is new, but when it comes to the aspect of predictability, like, I can't emphasize it enough. Like, you got to realize when you start a business, there has to be this initial investment that occurs, like in any business, right? With the painting business, we're kind of lucky. There's really low startup costs, bro. You probably haven't spent a crazy amount to get going, dude.
And the American credit system is very valuable,
It's
man.
very valuable, right? So
Yeah.
you could use credit. You don't really have a big, you don't have to put a lot of skin in the game, right? If I went to a smoothie shop, and I always see them, it says franchise opportunity. And you know what it says? It says 100K to launch a freaking smoothie shop, dude.
We're like
100K
10% of that.
cash just to make 10% net on the top line revenue, right? So that's just to get going. And it's like, man, when you look at the cost of a marketing agency, it's only going to go up. But I'll say, like, $3,000, dude, you got to understand, bro. $3,000 will get you, when you look at that cost, half of it is usually for the agency, half of it is for the ad spend. $1,500 in ad spend on Facebook with an agency that has the data, right? So you talk about forward media marketing. They're not reinventing the wheel. They're looking at my ads. They're looking at all the successful painting contractors, and they're saying, hey, Tanner's ad that has him standing in front of a house with this font looks good. I want you to do that too, Josh. And guess
Yep.
what? You get the the best of the best, right? You're not an experiment. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
100%.
for $1,500, you're getting that, but the other $1,500 goes for your ad spend. And you got to look at it like this. Well, what's the cost per lead? You got to be a student of this. And you say, well, the cost per lead is $50 a lead, right? So how many times does 1,500, 50 go into 1,500? I don't know. I don't even.
Yeah, no, hey man, that's good math though. That's a good return.
That's a good
by any
return.
standard.
1,500 divided by 50, that's 30 leads. Bro, you could do a lot with 30 leads.
Mhm.
I guarantee you get 30 leads, you're going to convert that to more than $3,000. Anybody can do that, right? So I would do anything in your power to find a marketing agency to help you, because look, your Facebook page isn't going to get any views. No one's going to be able to find your website. No one's going to see it. And I know there's a lot of time in making it look good and getting the branding up and all this. None of it matters. None of it. It's just how quickly can you get to the top of Google and in people's faces on Facebook.
Yeah, so I was listening to one of your podcasts, man, and I heard your maybe it was someone you had on, or it was you yourself, but you had a goal of the Google reviews and being one of the top reviewed companies in your market space. And I did the research on my market space in Flathead Valley, Montana, and the top painting company as far as Google would tell has 51 reviews on Google. That's it. And I said, bro, I was talking to you, and I was listening. I'm like, man, they had like 200 with when Tanner was talking about it. So I got to do a quarter of that, and I'm up there. So that's definitely a goal on the list, man. And
I mean,
looking for
I want you to think of reviews as equity. It's just equity. It's like you get an equity stake in every job that you did, and it's going to be there forever, right? But I'm looking at it like this, man, Josh. Like I think I can already tell you're going to be successful. I think you're going to make it happen. But the difference between someone that is deemed as extremely successful and someone that made it, eventually is time. And it's like, dude, you could get this. You could save so much time if you have the leads, right? If you have the leads, anything is possible, right? Because you need the practice, like the practice of calling those leads, hearing what they say, understanding their motivations, sitting in front of them and giving proposals, feeling out pricing. Like, this is a learning curve. And the worst thing that can happen is you start just doing the jobs yourself. Like that really can't be the play.
So I got a question for you, man. I actually have a list of questions, but I don't want to take up too much of your time.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I'm here, man. What's up?
So how do you, because I'm in a place right now where I know a couple people that want to paint with me. So obviously that's not a scalable system, but I'm going to bring them on just so we could get rolling, right? But how do you what do you do in your hiring process to attract skilled painters, highly ambitious people? And the second part of that question is, what systems do you build inside of your business to maintain those people's ambitions, fuel their fire, and keep them happy while they're co-building with you?
Bro, you work for a GC. You got to look at what you appreciated. What is something that drove you? Obviously, they're not making profit, but you got to understand they're coming into it knowing that there's a trade-off. The trade-off is what do you provide as an employer?
I mean, obviously financial benefits,
security.
But security,
It's security. That's it. That's the only responsibility you have, is security, consistent pay, and job security. That's the only trade-off, right? Anything outside of that makes you an exceptional employer in this space. And that could be benefits one day. That could be even setting up Gusto. I know you heard me talk about Gusto if you listen.
I got Gusto. I'm already on Gusto.
You're on it, right? So you're already ahead of 90% of the people that call them business owners that do some sort of home service trade in your local area, simply because you have a solid payroll system where they get transparency when it comes to their pay, and they get a direct deposit, right? So like when you say, well, how do you keep people motivated? Like, bro, it's like the easiest thing in the world. You just actually be a good boss and you care about people's money. But the responsibility on your shoulders is you need to make sure that work is there every week. Like, you can't be calling and saying, hey, man, I don't have work for you Wednesday. I'm running from that still from 8 years ago when I started this thing. Right. It's like, I'll never make that phone call. Yep. Like, I'll knock doors and freaking make sure before we get to that point. You know what I'm saying? 100%. Like, that type of mentality is like, they want, like, the people that work for me, they just know that I'm there. I'm looking out for them. I'm not at the bar drinking. I'm not dicking around. I'm making sure that they have work every single day. No one in my company questions whether or not there's going to be work. Never.
Right.
That is valuable. Sense. I just want you to think about it for a second. Like, how crazy it is to actually make that to be the thing that makes people motivated, is the fact that there's actually a promise being kept. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And I've been in situations where it's not, man. So I know what that's like.
Just do the bare minimum.
Right.
And then anything outside of that, again, that's what makes you exceptional. That's what gets people bought in, and keeping promises. Don't overpromise. You gave me a little bit of an idea of what your plan is. And you said, some people that can paint. You're going to bring them in. Brother, it's like a marriage, dude. You can't just bring people in and just hope that they work out. And then if they don't work out, let them go. Start the process now. Treat them as if you don't know them. Take them through the process. Take them through a phone interview. Take them through an in-person interview. Find out what their motivations are. Find out really how they're going to work with you. Don't just like say, hey, come on and work with me just to get the ball rolling. And that doesn't do anything for you. Because what'll happen is that if they don't work out, now you got to let them go. And you could have prevented that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And it's, so I'm in Painter Growth as well. I'm a member of that. Okay. And, there's such an emphasis on SOPs, systems, models in the business. And I just have a real-time question about that is what is the home base typically for these systems? What do these look like if you were to pull them up on a computer screen? Is that a Google Doc? What is a standard practice of?
Yeah, I mean, think about like the Constitution of the United States, dude. Have you ever seen it?
No. Yeah,
No.
I mean, obviously we've seen the 10, but it's just written.
But we reference it when we need it, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? If things come up, but that's what an SOP is for. But really what it comes down to is like the SOP, you have to create them with what works for you first. Like I can't give you my SOP. My SOP was created through my own experiences, right? So like for me, it's like, you could take everyone else's SOPs and you could say, okay, well, I'm gonna follow Tanner's way of hiring, right? Well, I won't waver from my SOP because I've already been through the pain of going outside of that thing, right? And ultimately, like I've had enough pain in making bad hiring decisions that I just now need to stick to my SOP, right? And I think you can use everyone else's as a guide, but in 3-4 years from now, when you've been through 20 people that each time you shook their hand when you did an interview and you thought they were going to work out and they didn't for whatever reason, maybe they didn't show you their true side or you didn't ask enough questions or you made a emotional decision because you had a big job coming up.
Right.
Then you'll be like, okay, I got to go through this process. And you know what? In my process, I'm going to do this. I'm going to ask these questions. So where does it live? You could put it in a Google Doc. You could use Chat GPT. I use ClickUp. It's just a project management software. I mean, you could use whatever you want. Like I wouldn't get too caught up in that. I would just say, hey, this is how I go about. Don't like SOPs get too fancy. It needs to be, how do I find someone that's a painter? Okay, well, I go on Indeed. Okay, and when I get someone on Indeed, what do? I message them. Okay, what do you message them? A link to a form. Okay, well, what do I do after that? Well, once they fill it out, I review it. And then I send them an email. What does the email say? Well, it says, hey, I'd like to meet you for or I'd like to do a phone interview with you. Okay, well, what do I do in the phone interview? Well, I ask these questions. And then what do I do after that? Well, then I invite them to an in-person interview and I ask these questions. And if I like them, then what do? I do a background check. It's like you just line them up, each time, because you should be building every area of your business as if someone else is going to step in and do those things for you. And if you just keep doing things off the top of your head, and you somehow grow this thing, it's going to be really hard for someone to come in and take your place.
Yep. And that's the goal from a starting place. I really wanted to step in this and build a solid foundation and start off on the right foot.
Do you have any jobs sold?
Yeah, I got one and then I got another bid out. It's a funny story. I was actually just called my pops and talked about it because the very first bid that I did, this really beautiful home, lakefront house, and there was giant deck, giant awning. This guy wanted stained, and I go and I give the price. It's my first bid, so I'm really like locked in. I want to deliver this right, add value to this guy's property, and give him a good competitive price. So I take all the measurements. I'm out of this place. I go back to the house and I send over the bid. He emails me and says, "All right, I'll call you in the morning." And he calls me, and the next morning I'm at the gym on stair stepper, and I answered. I say, "Hey Jack, how you doing?" He says, "That bid you sent me is ridiculous." And it was my first bid ever. And I really I think he might just be one of them guys, that's funny like that. But it was just a funny story of my very first bid, the reaction that I got to it. And I was really just walked around. I feel confident in the price and everything, but yeah, so I got that one out, and we're actually going to end up doing it in the fall now. So that's another one, proposal signed, and yeah, so 2 in, and we're just going to keep rolling,
What is the apprehension of hiring a marketing agency?
The apprehension. I would say a little bit financially right now. Part of me would like to get more work on the books. Obviously, that's goes hand in hand with
It does.
hiring that marketing agency.
It does. Yeah. And the
Um,
thing is, here's the thing. The thing is that, you're always going to be faced with those sorts of dilemmas, right? It's always going to be the cart before the horse, horse before the cart, chicken before the egg, right? It's always that thing. Like, you got to understand that, like, the level of success in your business is going to be directly proportional to your level of risk, right? Hiring a marketing agency right now is risky, but you're sowing seeds for future growth. And the same thing happens when it comes to hiring, bro. Like, I might talk to you in 6 months from now. You're like, yeah, I got some leads. I'm on the tools a lot. I'm in the houses a lot. I'm like, bro, you got to hire. It's like, well, I don't know if I have enough jobs to hire. And it's like, you're never gonna know. There's never gonna be this time, this magical moment. It's like, okay, it's time to hire your next like painter. It's like,
it's
bro, you just
trust.
got to do it, and you
Say,
got to trust advisors, people that are doing this. I'm
yep.
I'm on level 99 right now. You're on level 1, and I'm telling you from my perspective, whatever money you got, throw it at the person I just referred to you, and you're going to get leads. You need leads. Like, your business has you have no reputation, you have
Yep.
no exposure. No one's going to find your website, no one's going to find your Facebook, and we just talked about your core offer. What did you tell me your core offer was earlier?
Uh, well, I think that
You
I had
told me
said.
you told me
Go ahead.
exterior and interior painting.
Oh,
Remember?
yeah, exterior and interior painting. Yes,
And
sir.
what job
Yep.
did you just sell?
Exterior deck.
Staining, didn't you?
Staining. Yeah.
Okay. You
Yeah.
see what I mean?
So, would you say that when you're offering exterior painting, because I've been subcontracting, so I've stained a lot of decks. I've
I get
painted the
that.
exterior of a lot of houses.
I
You
get that.
would you wouldn't even take on those at the beginning, and you would just lock in
Bro,
on.
if not, so guess what? You have I'm 8 years into just house painting, and I'm still learning the fastest, most efficient way to just do house painting. And it ain't just the application of the product. It's the predictability of the outcome.
Right.
Right. So what happens is now you got this stain job in the fall or whenever you booked it for, right? So
Yep.
let's say you build momentum, you start getting interior projects, start getting exterior projects, then you got this freaking stain job that you sold when you first started, and now you got to stop the momentum that your team may have made a few mistakes on the previous interior, and they need another interior to bring that feedback loop whole. But now they got to stop what they're doing and they got to go do stain work that they haven't done all year.
Right. Right.
And you're thinking
It
you're
complicates
thinking
the system.
Josh. That's the problem. You got to get out of that. It's not what Josh can do. It's what your team can do. That needs to, and here's the thing that see how subtle it is? That subtlety right there will send you far off course. 1 degree on the flight takeoff of a plane in California will send them from New York to freaking Tennessee, dude.
Right.
I'm
That's fair.
telling
That's
you,
that's really good advice, man. Yep.
I'm telling you. So you
I
got to be
see that.
mindful of that, right? It's hard to say no early on because you want the money, you need the cash flow, you want the
Exactly. I
job.
just want to get guys busy. I want
I
to
want
get
to
us
get guys
rolling.
busy, but I'm telling you that habit right there doesn't just stop. You're going to get asked to do all sorts of crazy things. You know what jobs I lose the most money on? The ones where I take things on that I'm not the best at or we don't do consistently, like staining, like wallpaper removal, like all these little wood repair, like these things that most people just jump at because it's work. I say no. We don't do it. We do painting, and people respect that, bro. They
No
respect it.
exterior stain.
So I'm not
It's
saying, look, I get that there's a survival period of like, hey, you got to do what you got to do. But now you
right.
just sold a job for the fall. And the goal here is to build a team that has predictability each day. Hey, I'm doing interior painting. I got to learn how to, I got to learn how. Here's something for you, Josh. I've been doing this so long. Interior painting, a house full of furniture. What's the system for removing drapery on windows? What's the system for sliding furniture? Do you have furniture sliders? Like these little details are the things that knock companies off the rocker, dude. And the thing is that we scratch floors. Okay, so the next time, what do? I provide furniture sliders for my guys. And we're still refining the process of how to create a great interior painting experience,
Right.
right? Now, you might say, I don't want to do interior painting. I want to do cabinets. Great. Just go all in on it. Just be the best cabinet refinisher and you'll always have work. You'll have predictability. Your marketing message will be clearer to the marketplace. You know what I'm
Jack
saying?
of all trades, master of none. I got it.
Right.
Yep.
That's the famous
Absolutely.
saying, and it's exactly right. It's the truest saying in the world, bro. You had some
Yep.
more questions, man. I know I'm talking a lot. Is this helpful?
No, you're good, man. It's been a lot of value already. And we talked about risk, man, and I had, we talking about SOPs. What is your SOP for weighing risk when you're looking at these things in your business, in your life, when they're in front of you? I've already felt it taking this leap now. And what is our standard operating procedure when we know that there's a gap and we gotta jump
Yeah,
and we
there's an
don't know if
element of
we're gonna make it.
there's an element of faith, but at the end of the day, the biggest risk you're ever gonna take is what you just did a few days ago.
Right.
You know, you ultimately burned the bridge, you burned the boats, and now you're gonna take over the island. And the thing is on that island, you're gonna be faced with risk, but none greater than the one you just did, right? Like, yeah, you might go into a little debt spending 3K on a marketing agency, and it's silly because their one responsibility is to help you make ROI. Like, there's no other. It's a better ROI than any stock market, dude. Like, you could get one lead from a $1,500 ad spend that's a $20,000 job. It's possible. It's
Yep.
just the mindset is you got to be an investor now. You're no longer an employee. And the employee mindset, the way money's managed is I get my paycheck, I pay my bills, I spend what's left, and I save a little bit, right? There's three elements to how an employee usually manages their money. Is that
Yep.
true?
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. So when you become a business owner, there's one more element that's so important, and it's called invest. So you get your money, right? You invest first back into the business,
Yep.
and then you save what's left, do your spending or whatever. There's an investing component that has to happen. You got to feed the business the gas.
Yep.
So when I assess risk, it's just I reference previous risk and I say, well, that worked out okay. I could do that again. Or it's just money at that point. And then you just start looking at money differently. And money is just, you
Yep.
know, it's just this tool that you use. It's not like this thing anymore at some point, but I know what it's like early on. I was broke. I'm not saying you're broke. I'm just saying I had limited resources. I had to
Yeah,
make,
well, you're starting from the beginning, man. You
starting from the
gotta
beginning, bro. But
exactly.
at the end of the day, I knew a very simple concept in business. My first day in business, I was buying leads from Home Advisor. I knew the very simple concept of if I don't have a consistent lead flow, I can't convert a lead into a higher dollar amount. It just doesn't happen. So I'm not going to sit here and wait. I'm going to take whatever I got, put it into a marketing engine, and I'm going to get leads. It's
Yep.
like that was day one for me.
Would you even suggest trying to take on any of that media marketing solo or just immediately step in? I mean, I know that's a kind of financial question too, but
What are you talking about? Doing it yourself?
yeah, like Facebook.business, you can go in there, boost a post, run an ad. It's obviously not
Remember what I
the
said. You don't have the data. You don't have the experience. You haven't made the mistakes. You're
right.
going to have to make those mistakes yourself. I've no doubts that you're not smart enough to figure this out. But you also have to understand that your time is the most valuable asset that you have now as a business owner. Anything that you're doing is taking away from something that you should be doing. That's called opportunity cost, right? So you got to look at it. All those hours that you're going to spend trying to create ads that you don't need to create because someone else has already created better ads that are proven to work.
Yep.
And then you're going to have to figure out the system of which, the audiences that you're going to have to figure out. And you're going to have to test all that. That takes a lot of time.
Right.
You're going to have to
Yes,
split
I've already
test.
kind of started looking at the fall. I mean, it's Montana, so we obviously go through winters, which can create slow seasons. And I was kind of thinking of the when to begin marketing for your fall interior projects when you want to
You
start
should,
that.
there's no beginning. It's always marketing. That's the thing. The marketing never stops. So the
Right, but
thing
it's
is
the intentional marketing, not just if we're going to be marketing exterior projects, but maybe we create a video, a piece of content that's interior home. We have painters inside the house, or maybe I'm walking around the inside of the house. When would you if when do you expect that return
the
to kick
people that
in?
are winning in those areas are incentivizing current customers to post date their projects for that time, right? So if fall's coming, the best time's now. I mean, ultimately you want it, but you're not going to do that. You just want to make sure that you're marketing heavily for interior painting. And if you get enough customers for interior painting, then you incentivize customers to post date their projects. So you can start stacking up those months.
Right. That
You know what
makes
I'm
a lot
saying?
of sense.
You
Yep.
just need leads. It doesn't matter when
Leads.
you do it. Of course, the targeting of it is good. You could say, hey, listen, it's cold outside. Let's paint the interior of the house. They know that. Like, it's just like, just be that interior painter. So when interior time comes around, or, exterior season's over, you're an immediate go-to because you're an expert at that. Like, just be the company that provides the best experience for interior and exterior painting. It's like, dude, you don't go to the general doctor with a toothache. Like, you go there because, like, you go to a dentist for that. Like, and
Yeah,
that's what's going to start happening. And you want to be in the front of that pack. People are expecting high quality experiences now more than ever.
absolutely. Yeah, that's really great advice. Yeah, master that trade, master what we're
Master
going
it,
to
man,
focus on.
master. But just pay attention to that subtlety, man. It's gonna be tempting to grab those little tiny things, but then you'll find yourself making low profit margins. It's gonna be frustrating your team. It's gonna put a cog in the, a wrench in the operation.
Yep. So, I got one more thing for you too.
Sure.
Uh, in your hiring process, I heard you guys talk about a lot of Indeed, a lot of sponsored ads for hiring. It comes from this place of, here are all your requirements for working here. And once you started to flip that, and it's more of an offer, just like a marketing,
It
when
is.
you're out marketing a paint job, I thought that was really valuable
Yeah.
information. And I was wondering, what you're maybe saying in those ads.
Yeah.
What is your offer exactly to someone out there that may be
Dude,
a new painter?
I'm
But
plugging this, but I just launched a course for this. I mean, it has everything top to bottom of everything that I do. And I actually just did a workshop where I help people launch their hiring ads. And ultimately what happens is you could do it one time, and then every time you need applicants, you just change it from pause to open, and that thing will start flooding in applicants.
wow,
So the thing is that, again, like, remember what I said earlier, it's like the bar is really low. Fulfill, like, the thing is that it's not hard to find good people. If you are intent about your process, it's just like, hiring is stressful. You don't want to make a bad decision. You're getting applicants coming in left and right. You compromise on the process, and you're busy. Like, hiring takes time, so you got to have a system in place. The offer's great. It's just like an ad. It's just like on Facebook, if you're advertising house painting, you want people to feel an emotion about it. Like, that's the key. So when in our ad, it's about family, culture, environment. It's everything that they're probably like. Our best applicants come from a company that doesn't have those things, so they can appreciate family, culture, environment. Hey, I got a sick kid, I need to stay home, and not getting anxiety about losing their job. Like, those things happen in our society, bro. So, just that's our offer, is like, hey, we're like really people centric. We try to convey that in the message. The thing is, what's even better about the offer is that when someone actually gets the job, they've been through a process that makes them feel like they earned it, you know?
yep,
That's what's more valuable, because anybody can apply. That's not going to help you, because I have 500 applicants on one ad, and I don't know which one of them actually read it or values the offer, right? So
absolutely,
we
that
got to
makes sense.
filter those people out. So that's what I created, is a system to funnel them out. But for you, man, like, the action steps I would give you, bro, is like, whatever you got to do to get somebody that can focus on generating leads for you is going to be key. That's going to be the key component of everything. Don't do it yourself. If you don't have the time, you don't have the experience, you haven't made the mistakes. It would be nice to wake up to a new lead every day. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Let's go.
I mean, you got to pay for that.
Yep, 100%. So that's number one, is get that
But the thing
marketing
is
engine
that,
moving.
but
But
the
you got to
thing
be
is,
hiring alongside it to
you're
be able to
right.
fulfill it.
You have to do it at the same time. You
Right.
got to do it at the same time. It's not that's the double risk. And I don't think you'll ever go through like a tougher scenario right now, having to hire a marketing agency and hiring an employee. But you know what that creates? I'm sure you know what that is. It's called pressure. You know what I'm saying?
Makes
And you're a
diamonds,
gym guy.
baby.
Yeah, you want gains in the business, bro. You got to have some resistance.
Yep.
If there's no resistance, there's no pressure in any scenario, you're not going to get the results. So you got to realize, when you have the leads, that's going to force you to get good at following up with leads, because you paid for them. And then guess what? You're going to have to get better at sales, because
Yep.
you want to convert those leads and get some ROI. So you're going to be diligent. And then guess what? Once you get the job, well, you're gonna want to hire, so you want to make sure, and it's this consistent balancing act, dude, that happens, and
Right.
eventually you're out of that whole process, which is the dream.
Yeah, it's fun. It definitely feels like finding the balance in it, because also having a background in painting, I know the standard that I want to give to a customer, man. I want to give them a really great paint job that they're happy with, that they invested
Sure.
into their biggest investment of their life, which is typically their home.
Yeah. I don't think
And
there's anything wrong with you painting. It's just I think there's something wrong with you painting with no momentum going on in the background, right? Like
right,
if you're on a job painting by yourself, Josh, like that's a problem. Like that means that nothing's working. Like you're not maximizing the value of that time, right? That value of that time would be you teaching someone else who's working alongside you what they need to know to be able to replace you as the manager or the
yep,
leader or the crew lead. I would almost venture to say that the best thing you could do is hire two people. One is a helper and one is a potential crew leader. Someone that's trustworthy, shows up on time, that can talk to customers, clean cut, presentable, wants to learn the trade, has a little experience, if not a pretty good amount of experience, but someone that can be someone that you mentor. So each job isn't a waste, it's a training ground.
right,
That's how you got to see it.
yep. And that's pretty close to the situation we got right now. So I think that's gonna work out really well. And yeah, man, I'm excited to just get
How's the
rolling.
sales
And
process looking?
I mean, it looks really good. I'm learning drip jobs and the production rates, so that was the bidding part. And I mean, man, I've already got two great pieces of feedback from the drips. I think this is
Nice.
a very new process to buyers in this market. I've
Yeah.
never seen anything like it
What'd they
from
say?
this trade. That it's just great communication,
Yeah.
and that they had got a follow up from. I had pulled the proposal or the bid into draft.
Yep.
So they got that note that I'm working on it right now, and he sent me a text, and he's like, "You ain't even had to let me know that, but I appreciate it." I'm like,
That's
"I'm
awesome.
working, man." So that's been really cool, and I want to get to a place where on the job I'm, delivering an estimate right after the bid. I want to be able to walk around, but as I'm still getting comfortable in the process of accurately estimating this thing out, I know it's a problem, but I think I spent 3 hours on this guy's estimate on this huge deck because I really wanted to go through these measurements, really wanted to make sure that I was confident in this number before delivering it. And that's just one of those things that I'm going to be working on, is confidently estimating. And I know that just comes with time. I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to do it wrong and probably pay the cost in
What I
moments.
want you to also work on is closing too, because that's a different element of the game. Because remember what I talked about, predictability is important. And sales is the hardest thing to create predictability in. We could create predictability in leads generally more often than we can in sales because we just pull a lever. We just say, hey, I'm going to spend more money on Facebook. Naturally, I'll get more leads, low commitment. Of course, I will. But sales, if you don't have a predictability metric in sales, that's a major problem because there are going to be times where people aren't buying, right? So you need to have something in your house, internally in house where you could create predictability, and that's you knowing how to close, how to sit in front of somebody, present a price, handle objections, and build value and get a deposit.
Yep.
And there's a process for that too. And I think for you, I would do everything you could possibly do to give that price on the spot every single time, at least for the first year. I wouldn't go home and email anything, dude.
Just just do it.
Just
And
do
so
it. Don't
what
get too caught up in of course the pricing you're gonna have to learn. You're gonna have to learn your team speed. You're gonna have to learn your margins, like all that. But at the end of the day, even if it takes you a half an hour sitting in the car and another 30 minutes presenting a price, that's gonna do wonders for you. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna wind up collecting checks because naturally you're gonna build so much rapport with someone. The emotional buying, you know, brain
right.
waves are going to come out and they're going to want to purchase.
Are, so this is one thing that I feel like I've lacked finding resources on in education, because I'm really just I'm a student right now, and I'm aggressively just learning a lot of different pieces that's different than running a paintbrush or a sprayer. And one thing that I feel like I've lacked, because it's complex, but one thing I've lacked finding resources on is the actual estimating process. Obviously, production rates is awesome. You run around and pull measurements, and it has standard system for how long this takes, and I think that's different for every painter. So is there resources out there that standardize these times? I found some as far
You're gonna
as
have to just use
rates, but
your experience, man, because the thing is that you're in a different part of the country where you're gonna see different things that I'm gonna see here in Florida, right? You you have to think through those rates. And the goal is for you to get that freaking estimating done as fast as possible so you can spend the majority of your time building a relationship. The worst thing you could be doing is spending 50 minutes measuring everything and then getting in your car and saying, "All right, I'll email it to you."
right.
Like
Yeah,
like you ain't gonna
absolutely.
win. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? It's not gonna happen. It's just like, all right, well, all right, bye. Like, I want to know about your kids. I want to know about your family. I want to know what your motivations are. I want to know why you're doing this. I want to know. I had a lady yesterday, dude. She got to the point where she was telling me about her divorce and
Mm.
about the previous painter and about how, her previous painter ripped a drape that was $5,000 and how her husband was an ex-football player and he just is lazy. I'm like, I'm just
But you're
listening.
connecting. You're connecting.
I'm connecting. I'm a friend now. I'm somebody that they can trust, man. I'm letting go ahead, drama dump on me. I don't care. I'm done.
Yep.
Hire me. I'll listen even more while the guys are working. I'll come over, and I just that's what you do is you make friends with these people, and it's like they wind up trusting you, and it's like the price is look. You'll figure out the price. I think the most important thing for you is to get in front of people and sit in that awkward friggin' moment, bro, where you're just like delivering a price and they look at you and they say it's all right, we have to think about it, and you in a moment's notice come back with, well, what do you need to think about?
Right.
And you sit silently and there's this awkward feeling in the room, and then they say, well, it's just a little too much or more than I thought it would be. And then you go, well, why do you think that?
Yep.
You just soak in that, and then you turn the corner and you say, well, and they maybe tell you I had a different painter paint another property in freaking Wisconsin 6 years ago. And you say, oh, well, what was that process like? And then you uncover something that maybe was blocking them from seeing your value. And then you recognize that maybe the price that they want is $8,000 and you're at 10 grand and you need a job and you meet in the middle at 9 grand and you have a job for a whole week for your team. And then you go do another one.
Yep.
And then you get 10 grand on the next one because you're building off of momentum. Right. That's the type of stuff that creates predictability that you should learn. That's super valuable.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
It's that confidence level, as I continue to, I know that the delivering and the sales process, is a lot about confidence, and confidence just doesn't come from waking up in the morning and saying, I'm going to be confident today. It's feeling really good at this estimating process in that instance, and delivering them a number that I know is right, that I know is as accurate as it could possibly be. And I stand on that in this sales position of saying, I know this is the best option for you guys. I know that we're going to deliver a great product. We're going to give you a lot of value. It's going to be at the best possible price. And as I continue to refine that, I know that confidence will just continue to boost as I really stand on those estimates, knowing they're, accurate. I know that just comes with time. Just doing a bunch of them, reps.
Yeah, that's why you need leads. You need to be doing, at this rate early on, 3 to 4 estimates a week, of getting that practice, getting that, like, because you probably learned a lot from those 2 that you did, or you know what I'm saying? You probably learned a lot. Wouldn't it be nice if you had 2 more today? So you would take that feedback that you learned on those 2 and then apply it and then, refine it. So you can think of like that investment for that marketing agency of like, yeah, you're going to get jobs, but like, that's like your training ground. You need to learn how to nurture leads. You need to learn how to get on the phone with people who come in from Facebook that don't want to talk to you, even though they submitted their information. You gotta be like, wait a minute, didn't you submit your information? Like, we can give you a quote virtually if you want, or I can give you a ballpark. Well, it won't be accurate, but why don't I do that? Why don't you send me some pictures of the house? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to learn that, and that comes from practice. So I get that budget could be tight, but do whatever you can, man. Get that marketing agency under wraps. and that'll be
I'm
a
gonna
good.
do. I'm gonna do it, man. We've already, been discussing it, and I know that was an immediate thing we wanted to knock
Well,
off the
go for
list.
broke, bro. You're in a business that's like a, if you turn the corner in a painting business, you can be a self-made millionaire. I mean, there's a lot. Everyone needs painting. Everyone. There's not one structure in the freaking world that doesn't have paint in it. Almost. I mean, of course, there's old brick, but there's some paint somewhere. It's amazing. So that means your market is massive. You just need to create a system that can handle the demand.
Yep.
And it can't involve Josh Edwards working by himself. And that should be the thing that you run from every single day.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah,
Anything
man.
else, brother?
Nah, man, it feels really good, man. Appreciate all the education, man. Been listening to the podcast. Drip
Of course.
Jobs is a great product. Great product. So,
Thank you, man.
especially when you're just getting into it, man. Like it's giving me so much confidence, more confidence in the bidding process, and it's streamlined. The podcast is great, man. Just gonna get out there, keep moving, man. Keep learning, keep getting reps, keep getting better every day.
Good, man. Good for you. Good luck, man. If you need anything, man, you know how to reach me. We can do another one of these. Hopefully I hear back from you, and you'll be 10 steps further. Just one brick at a time, man. You'll get there.
Yes, sir. I believe that.
All right, my man.
I appreciate it, Tanner.